everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new, welcome. My name is Talu, and on this channel I make faith-based and travel videos, so I hope you decide to stick around. Today's video is going to be yet another praise report video because, listen, I'm a firm believer that you gotta give credit where credit is due, okay? And so right now, God is due so much credit for how good and how generous he's been to me in the past couple months. And so today I'm gonna be sharing with y'all the story of how God gave me and my roommate the apartment of my literal dreams. So let's just get right into it. To start off with a little context, I recently just graduated from university and I got a job in Northern California in the Silicon Valley area. And I knew I was gonna have to move to this area eventually, even though, you know, COVID has changed the whole entire game with the work from home possibilities. I knew I'm gonna be going to the office eventually. And I have a friend that I went to school with that started working at a company just down the street from mine. And so we decided to room together in the hopes to make things a little bit more affordable. Because if y'all are not familiar with the Silicon Valley area, it can be very expensive. Like when I was just like browsing, I saw a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom going for $4,200. And I said, it could never be me. It could never be me. So I said, you want to be roommates? Yes, ma'am. We both went into this knowing that we're already gonna have to prepare ourselves to fork over a majority of our paychecks for rent. Like, just very tragic. But then to make things a little bit more complicated, both me and my roommate were both coming in with our own expectations and desires of what we wanted out of, you know, our perfect place. And so, you know, while she was really looking for an apartment that had a specific layout, that had, you know, the 2 bedrooms on either side of the living room, my number one priority was that our apartment had a lot of natural lighting and just didn't feel dark at all. And then in addition to those things, we both needed the place to be, you know, within our budget, somewhat close to work, hopefully remodeled, you know, updated, hopefully with the wood floors, updated appliances. You know, we're trying to live a somewhat bougie lifestyle, you feel me? And so with all that said, let me just tell y'all, it was not looking good for us, like at all. Everybody I told, you know, what I was looking for in an apartment, what my expectations were, would kind of just be like, okay, I mean, we'll see. You know, you might want to lower your expectations a little bit. You might have to compromise on a couple of those things. And after a while, I started to believe them too, you know, because even just browsing online at the apartments, like just to find an apartment that had the right layout was already at the high end, if not exceeded our budget. And so I was like, even though I was praying and trusting that God would provide the perfect place, I was starting to get a little nervous, not gonna lie. But I was still holding on to some hope because, little backstory, I started apartment hunting in August of this year, 2021. But back in November of 2020, I had a dream. And I don't know if y'all write down your dreams right when you wake up, but on November 4th of 2020, I had a dream that I was rolling this wooden chair that I'm sitting in right now, that I was rolling it into this corner unit apartment with so much light coming in. And I wrote that I felt really blessed and thankful to God. I'll put it up on the screen. But now fast forward 9 months to August of this year, and I'm really trying to hold on to this vision that God gave me about, you know, this apartment, my dream apartment, even though, you know, what I'm seeing in front of me is not looking too promising, you know? And so back in August, I blocked out a whole entire Saturday and I scheduled apartment viewing tours at 8 different complexes, you know, all back to back, every hour, on the hour. It was a marathon. And I eventually ended up seeing 20 different apartment units that day, which was very tiring, and I still don't know how I did that. But you would think that after seeing 20 different apartment units, that there had to be at least a couple that we liked, right? A couple that we could, you know, say, you know what, we can work with this. Like, oh, okay, we would wanna, you know, pursue this, put an application in. No, there wasn't a single apartment that both of us were interested in. It was literally the 20th unit that day, the very last unit that I saw that day, that I was like, I walked in and I was like, you know what? I could work with this. I could see this maybe being a thing. There was a good amount of lighting coming in. They had these nice vaulted ceilings and it wasn't too far out of our budget. So, you know, after the day I had had and the amount of units I had seen, I was practically ready to sign the lease that day, like that day before I left. And so I'm getting a little excited and I send the video over to my roommate so she can tell me what she thinks, give me feedback and whatnot. And, you know, she's just not really matching my level of excitement. And She eventually tells me that she's not really feeling the place because it doesn't have the layout that she's looking for. And if I'm being completely honest, leaving that last unit of the day, I was pretty frustrated. I was tired, and I was feeling like there's literally no way that we're gonna find a place that pleases both of us if not even one unit in 20 could. And I remember driving out of that apartment complex, wondering why my roommate couldn't just compromise on, something that to me wasn't really that big of a deal. And I even started to think that, it might just be easier for us to look on our own and find our own apartments, because at this point it seemed impossible for us to find a place that would work for both of us. But it was in this moment that, I'm thinking all these things, I'm driving out of this apartment complex, that I felt God challenge me. And he asked, Tolu, is anything impossible for me? And God opened my eyes to see that I was, leaning a little too much on my own understanding. But we all may or may not know that in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6, God calls us to trust him with our whole hearts and not lean on our own understanding. And so as I was driving, I said a prayer and I said, God, I don't know how we're going to find a place that we're both happy with, that meets both of our criterion, but what I do know is that nothing is impossible for you. And so I pray that you would provide in a way that only you can. And I thank you in advance for how you're going to exceed both of our expectations. And honestly, I had no idea what to expect from then, but I just mentally prepared myself to start from scratch and get ready to do the same apartment touring marathon the next weekend with the faith that God would make a way somehow. Y'all, tell me why the very next day, on Sunday, I ended up getting dinner with a friend, and he had just recently moved too, and so he could kind of relate to the struggle of finding the right place. And he was telling me about some of the different complexes that he had toured, and he was, suggesting that I should take a look at them because they had a lot of the things that I told him I was looking for, with the layout and the modern updated appliances and, the sunlight. And so I was getting excited. I was like, okay, tell me more. But then I asked him, how much are these places? Like, how much are we talking? And why are these places almost $800 outside of my budget? I said, are you joking? What is this? But then he proceeded to tell me that there's this one complex in particular that is having this promotion where they're having a 2-month free deal, and you can actually apply the 2 months credit to the 12-month lease, making your monthly payments cheaper and actually within my budget. First off, I have never seen an apartment complex having this deal where they have 2 months free. The max I've seen is 6 weeks. And so just from that, I'm already a little shook. But then on top of that, all the apartments that have this kind of promotion, they are very strict about the fact that you cannot apply it to, the entirety of your lease. You have to just take the 2 months free, and then from there you have to pay in full. And so at this point, I'm starting to feel like it's a little too good to be true. You know what I'm saying? But I decided to give them a call the first thing the next day on Monday morning, and I end up scheduling a tour on my lunch break. And so I get there, and the apartment is beautiful. The leasing staff is so nice, and they're taking me around, showing me the complex. They show me a couple different units, some of which are like amazing, would love to live there, but are way outside of my budget, even with the 2 month credit applied, which is just tragic, truly. But then other units that are, within our budget, but could stand to be a little bit brighter, get a little bit more natural lighting. And so when they were done showing me the last tour, I said, Dante, listen, he was the leasing agent. I said, Dante, do you have any more units that you can show me that maybe are just a little bit brighter? And he tells me that there is this unit that he thinks I might like a lot because it gets a lot of great natural lighting. But there is a pair of guys that were there earlier that same day taking a look at it for the second time, and there's a really good chance that they're going to end up signing a lease very soon. And so I said, you know what, Dante, I don't even want to see it. Don't even show it to me, because it would really suck if I saw it, I fell in love, only to have it snatched out from under my nose. But Dante insisted, and he was like, no, I really want to show you this. They haven't signed the lease yet, so you really never know what could happen. And so I follow Dante to this unit, and it ends up being this corner unit with so much sun streaming in with modern appliances, with the rooms on either side of the living room. And I'm just like, this cannot be real. I am instantly in love. And to cut a long story short, I end up sending a video of the place to my roommate, and she loves it too. And so we end up putting a deposit on the unit that day and signing a lease 2 days later. And now it's been 2.5 months of us living here. And it wasn't until I was moving all my stuff in and rolling this wooden chair into the apartment that I remembered the dream, and I felt so blessed and thankful to God. And so I don't know who needed to hear this today, but y'all, God is so good, and he can do the things that to us seem to be so impossible. We just have to trust him and not lean on our own understanding and expand our imagination to expect more from God. I believe that he will only do what we expect for. And so today I just want to encourage you to have faith and expect more from God. I know that this was a long story, but I truly hope that it encouraged somebody. And please feel free to leave in the comments down below how you're expecting God to move in impossible ways in your life in this season. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay blessed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!